right, so hey everyone, I'm Dmitry, I'm from Canada, hence the accent and the red and white slide color palette. And I head up design at an insurtech startup called Slice Labs. For those of you who are not familiar with Slice, which is probably most of you, we help insurance companies rapidly bring new products to market. We have a SaaS platform for doing that, or as I like to call it, for helping our partners drag themselves kicking and screaming into 2019. And I'm going to talk to you about that, but first, let's talk about Star Trek. So, can I have a show of hands? How many of you are Star Trek fans? Not bad. Okay, cool. So, you might wonder why Star Trek. So, I found it to be a pretty apt metaphor for designing for the insurance industry, because insurance often feels like the final frontier of good experience design, or at least one of them. So instead of strange new worlds, there's strange new terms to discover, like settlement, comprehensive, parametric, and bordereau. Transparency about what you get and what you pay for is just about as rare as a planet that supports human life. And it's not unusual for insurance companies, when you deal with them, to have the kindness of a Klingon, the emotional depth of a Vulcan, and the business ethics of a Ferengi. And in case you guys need a reminder for what Ferengi business ethics are like, I've got a little video for you. And hopefully it will play.
Every Ferengi business transaction is governed by 285 rules of acquisition to ensure a fair and honest deal for all parties concerned. Most of them.
Worthless, tiny, for the first rule of acquisition. Your brother say it.
Once you have their money, you never give it back.
Never spend more for acquisition.
So yeah, once you've got their money, you never give it back. Doesn't that sound like a lot of the insurance companies that you're familiar with? And then there's the user experiences, which often feel like they were designed by the Borg. So I'd like to play a little game with you. I'm going to show you a simple thing, really, an insurance enrollment form. And your job is to count the number of fields on this form. How does that sound? Okay? So, ready, set. So, what did you come up with? Any wild guesses? Too many. Too many is an excellent answer. Anyone care to venture a more specific guess? 38 and 45. The correct answer is actually exactly in the middle. It's 41. There are 41 fields on that form. So, enough said. Oops. Yeah. No, I don't want to subject you to that again. Okay, let's move forward. And full screen. Full screen. Okay, whatever. But what if this didn't have to be like that? What if insurance could be turned on and off just like a light? What if insurance was bought by you because you saw value in it and not sold to you, especially not sold to you by people with the business ethics of a Ferengi? And what if you were just covered just like that? So luckily, there's a bunch of companies out there that are trying to make this happen, and product design really is a key part of the answer to this. So I'm going to give you a quick tour of some of the strange new worlds, if you will, of design innovation that's happening in InsurTech. Boom. All right, so first of all, let's talk about the quote experiences. So you saw already the conventional quote experience basically put online, which is the 41 fields. It's lovely, it's crappy. With digital, buying insurance is essentially an e-commerce experience. And just like shortening the checkout flow in e-commerce can be a really good way to make the experience better for consumers, shortening the quote flow is often the same for a great digital insurance experience. So some digital brands emphasize speed to complete their quote flow, and they use highly customized widgets to reduce the number of steps and screens that you need to get a quote. So here's an example from a US brand called Hippo. So pretty quick, right? And certainly not 41 fields. And let's see. No. Next. Come on. Okay, there we go. And others, like the home and renters insurance startup Lemonade, focus on making the process personal and really trying to build a relationship with the consumer. At Slice, we use both of these approaches, and for our own B2C insurance product, we've used smart insurance policy design and publicly available property data to reduce the number of fields that are required to get coverage from this, which is 30-something for a conventional insurance quote, down to 4. Just 4 questions to answer. And our philosophy and our unique approach to designing experiences for InsurTech is an essential part of our enrollment flow. So another sort of brave new world of design and InsurTech is on-demand coverage. So again, what if you just got covered when you needed to, and you could stop coverage when you no longer need it? So most insurance products right now are still sold on the assumption of continuous and ongoing coverage, but this is starting to change, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, experience design needs to support this. So right now, we're sort of at a point in the experience economy where with a single tap, consumers can do all of these things, including maybe even find inner peace. So, why not be able to start and stop insurance coverage with a single click or tap? So here's an example, again, if the videos will cooperate, of something that approaches that from a US startup called Opton. And this is for rideshare driver coverage. So this is the enrollment flow, and then this is how you end coverage. And it's pretty good. It's a couple of taps for both, but I would argue it still can be improved because the driver actually, with this product, the driver actually has to purchase a new policy every 4 hours. And so imagine having to do this, like you're an Uber driver, you're driving around, oops, 4 hours has gone by and you need to get a new insurance policy. Some drivers do 12-hour shifts. That means you need to get 3 different policies. So not ideal. And so right now at Slice, to solve this, we're working with a major insurance company out of the US to really provide a true tap-on product that doesn't have this limitation. Unfortunately, I can't talk about it any more than that because it's still not public, but stay tuned. And next. Another area where innovation is taking place in InsurTech is insurance as a service. So small businesses increasingly are living in a SaaS world, right? SaaS software provides really flexible, turn on, turn off as necessary functionality, and it's becoming absolutely core to a lot of small businesses out there. So when we started working with the global insurer AXAXL on a cyber insurance product for small businesses, we figured that that might be a good way to go, and you'll see the end result in this video. So again, the goal is to make this product both considerably easier to get than existing cyber insurance coverage out there, and to make it like software as a service. You sign up when you need it. You sign up. You can cancel anytime, and you pay on a month-by-month basis. All right, so now let's talk about the claims experience. So you might have noticed a little bit of that in the video that you just saw. And so remember that Ferengi quote about not giving you your money back? Well, so the claims experience is typically where insurance companies show you just how good they are at that. And they do that by putting you through all these lovely hoops. So if you like complex process flows, you're going to love insurance claims processes because that's typically what they look like. And, you know, if you've ever filed an insurance claim of any kind, you know that it's nerve-wracking as all hell, right? You're already stressed out from your trouble, and now you need to find your insurance policy, you need to pick up the phone, be on hold for a very, very long time, typically, and then convince the person at the other end of the line that you truly do deserve to be reimbursed for your troubles, right? So at Slice, we wanted our claims filing experience to be different and to be both efficient and humane. And we did that by sort of combining the efficiency of an app with the warmth of talking to a real person who cares about you. So we designed and built this experience. So this is one example. As a chatbot that simulates texting with a real person. So notice the avatars there. So these are actually, for each of the partners that we work with, these are actually representations of their actual claims administrators. So it's really as though you are interacting with that brand, you're talking to a real human being. And then we've got micro interactions like the chat bubble that you see on the screen over on the left that hangs out there for a few seconds rather than sort of giving you instantaneous responses from the claims bot, so that you really have this impression that you are talking to a human being that represents the brand and that cares about you. Still efficient, but also humane. But even as we work to humanize the claims process, we need to be aware that some people will want to game the system. And the way we try to deal with that is by helping nudge their behavior as much as possible towards honesty. So this is Max Bazerman. He is a professor at the Harvard School of Business, and he's a world expert at the applications of behavioral science to business, one of them being discouraging unethical business dealings. And he's even written a book about it, Blind Spots, and it talks about distinguishing our should self, the person who knows what's the right thing to do, from our want self, the person who actually ends up making the decision, which may or may not be ethical in the end. And he talks about techniques based on studies that he and his team have conducted to make sure that it's the former and not the latter that end up making decisions in the case of an ethical quandary. So at Slice, we've been working with Max to productize his research, and in particular, some very interesting and counterintuitive results that he's found to help people behave honestly when dealing with claims. So for example, one of Max's research studies, co-authored with Dan Ariely, that you might know from the book Predictably Irrational, looked at the effect of signing an insurance claim. So what's interesting about that is, so typically a paper-based claim, of course, you sign at the end, just like you would any other paper-based document. Or an electronic version of the paper claim, you might not sign at all. So it turns out that the worst option for ensuring honest behavior is actually the signature at the end. In an experiment that Max and his team ran, 79% of the participants cheated when presented with that option. No signature is marginally better. 64% cheated when presented with a claim form with no signature. And it's the signing before filling out the claim option that resulted, as counterintuitive as it may be, in people actually being generally honest on their claims form. So here are some of the other behavioral nudges that Max and his team have found work, and we've incorporated into our claims product. One is joint signing. So you saw that again a little bit in the previous video, where it's not just the person making the claim that signs at the beginning, it's also the brand. Of course, it's not actual signature, but it's the brand, the insurer is essentially committing to an honesty pledge as well as the claimant, and they commit to processing the claim in a fair and honest manner, and as much as possible, not being a Ferengi. So that's one of them. Another one is highlighting the permanence of digital data. People do need to be reminded of that because, you know, well, maybe these days people don't need to be reminded of that so much. In any case, that helps. And another one is sort of asking the claimant to record on video like this what happened in their own words, and that's really powerful. So we provide some cues for them to like not worry about the end result. Obviously, they might be emotional in the moment and stuff like that. But what we found, again based on data from AXAXL lab, is that this really minimizes the incidence of people not being honest on claims. And finally, I want to talk about how we're taking insurance into this brave new world of machine learning and really using it to reward prudence and good behavior by customers. So claims processes are not just convoluted, right? They also typically are kind of completely independent of your history as a customer. They don't know who you are, and they don't differentiate between high-risk customers and loyal customers that may have never made a claim in 10 or 20 years. And as we've talked about people, or to people rather, about their experiences with claims, this is a common theme that emerged. So I'm a loyal customer, I've never made a claim, potentially in years and years and years, and now I need my insurance company to help, and they don't seem to care. So very frustrating, of course. And of course, it's exactly these loyal, low-risk customers that insurance companies want to keep around, and they don't want them to switch and go somewhere else. So now we're trying to solve this cogs in the machine, so to speak, problem with machine learning. With our new product called SliceMind, that we actually just announced last week, we enable insurers to segment their customers based on behavioral data, based on their customer profiles, and also based on their claims data as well, into essentially different customer cohorts. So some of those cohorts might be sort of average risk, some might be higher than average risk, and some might be low-risk customers that you really want to offer a better customer experience to, if at all possible, when they're making claims. So that is going to enable insurers to offer these very differentiated claims experiences to the customers that they believe deserve that, and even to the point of automatically settling some smaller claims if they choose to. So that's pretty cool, on the assumption that they're likely to be honest. So to recap, in this sort of brave new world of insurance, where insurance is finally being redesigned for an on-demand world, for the world of Uber, Netflix, and Airbnb. And so these are some of the things that you've seen, so some of the ways that this is happening. So streamlined on-brand quote experiences, tap-on, tap-off coverage, subscription-based or SaaS-like policies, humane digital claims, behavioral nudges to help people behave honestly, and machine learning to help identify and reward loyal customers. And of course, there is quite likely more innovation coming soon to a galaxy near you. That's it. Thank you.